I'm a beta male who just got discharged from a psychiatric hospital. A deranged couple kidnapped me to play house, pretending to be my parents. When I mistakenly thought I was part of their role play, they sandwiched me between them with dangerous jealousy, demanding, "Who do you love more, baby, daddy, or mommy?" As an adolescent beta, I've always been quiet. When my artist parents claimed I stopped talking to them after entering high school, I decided to greet them the next morning. They vanished that same night to find inspiration on the prairie, leaving behind our silent home. Months later, they reappeared demanding why I wasn't speaking, only to disappear again to Africa, Antarctica, mountains, rainforests. Eventually they dragged me to doctors, insisting I'd gone mute. The crushing fatigue made speech impossible. They fabricated records to institutionalize me for 3 years. On my 18th birthday discharge, instead of parents, I found 20-something Ivy Taylor and Lucas Clark waiting. The towering alpha with black hair and earrings blocked my view. "Evan?" he barked. After my nod, he grabbed my luggage. "Let's go. We're your new parents." I stared at his youthful face. Had the world gone mad? The beautiful Omega beside him smiled gently. "Hello, Evan. I'm your mother, Ivy. This is your father, Luke." My head tilted. Had all sane people coupled off during my confinement? Ivy suddenly giggled, petting my head like I was some exotic pet. So cute. Those puppy dog eyes. I endured his painful stroking as Luke tossed my bags in the trunk, snapping, "Hurry up, Ivy. I got shit to do." Ivy's grip became steel cables around my wrist. My shock rivaled seeing a delicate poet uproot a giant oak. In the back seat, Ivy's hands mapped my body with bone-deep pressure. "Your skin and bones," he cooed. "Mommy will fatten you up." His compassionate touches left invisible bruises blooming under my skin. When tears escaped, Ivy beamed. "Look at those wet Bambi eyes." Luke finally intervened, though his tone stayed casual. "Ease up. He's my uncle's kid, don't break the toy yet." "Uncle's child?" My rusty throat croaked. "That." The rest died in my dry throat. Luke guffawed. "Good boy. Daddy's got rewards for you later." Ivy's smile froze. Why call him first? He yanked me against his chest, fingers tangling in my hair. "Say, Mommy." "Evan." Madness. I sealed my lips. Their mansion contained a bedroom with a bed sized for an orgy. Ivy pinched my cheek. "Mommy will sleep with you tonight." Luke exploded. "Hell no. You're my fiancé. An Omega can't share beds with some beta. Why can't mothers sleep with their children?" Ivy countered. "Cut the act." Luke kicked the doorframe. "This arranged marriage bullshit's already nauseating enough without your control freak games." "Ivy." Luke sneered. "Look at him, grown-ass adult. We're just babysitting my uncle's charity case." The temperature plummeted. Ivy's stillness screamed danger. My new parents glared. Twin storms waiting to collide, with me as their lightning rod. Ivy smiled. "Why not? I adore him. I don't mind becoming his mother. Single parenthood suits me just fine." "Lunatic." Luke snapped, his expression darkening. "Don't forget your paternal obligations. We had an agreement, remember?" Ivy's polished smile returned. "You helped me create this picture-perfect family, and I'll marry you to prop up the Clark family legacy." Luke snorted, rising to loom over Evan. "Sure thing. We're one big happy family. Till the universe implodes. Right, kiddo?" Munching cookies while absorbing this surreal custody drama, Evan found himself abruptly thrust into their crossfire. Annoying. He paused mid-bite, tilting his head obediently. "Yes, Dad." Predictably, Ivy's smile vanished. Satisfied, Evan resumed eating, tuning out their reignited squabble. Luke rubbed the fresh scratch marks on his cheek, grumbling, "Come on, Evan. Let's get you decent clothes. Ivy's playing housewife today. Can't escape her home-cooked feast." Evan's lips twitched imperceptibly. "Think I didn't catch that smirk?" Luke cuffed Evan's head playfully. "Thought you were some meek little lamb. Turns out you're all claws under that fluffy coat." Evan glared, massaging his scalp. Luke ruffled his hair with infuriating glee. "Look at that. The zombie kid's got fire after all. Pathetic." True to form, Luke hauled Evan into his sports car like gym luggage. At the boutique, Sales associates swarmed them the moment his Italian loafers hit the marble. What style are we considering today, sir? Luke shoved Evan forward. Everything that fits this twig. Evan jabbed Luke's ribs, wasteful idiot. Don't get emotional. Luke smirked, misreading Evan's glare. The clerk cooed. How generous your partner is. They froze. Luke's laughter boomed through the store. Partner? Oh honey. He yanked Evan into a headlock, breath hot against his ear. I'm actually daddy here. The clerk's polite smile turned knowing. Luke pinched Evan's cheeks like dough. Come on, champ. Say, thanks, Pop. Moron. Returning to Ivy's McMansion, they found her arranging a banquet. Welcome home, Evan, she crooned, wrenching Evan from Luke. Her grip tightened. Getting cozy with daddy so soon? Bite me. Luke flopped onto the dining chair. Since when do you cook? Ivy smacked Luke's reaching hand with chopsticks. Drumsticks for Evan. Evan accepted smoothly, free food's free food. There's 2 legs. Luke protested. Parents sacrifice for their children. Ivy sang, depositing the second drumstick onto Evan's mountain of food. Luke stared at Evan's plate, then shoveled rice like a sulky teen. Meanwhile, Ivy's culinary assault continued until Evan's bowl resembled Everest. Clink. Evan's chopsticks struck the porcelain. Not hungry, Ivy fretted. He stuffed. Luke sneered. Then off to bath time. Ivy beamed. Mommy's tucking you in tonight. The urge to bolt or spontaneously combust intensified. Post-shower, the down mattress swallowed Evan whole. Drifting off. He suddenly couldn't breathe. Ivy had him in a boa constrictor hug, her floral perfume choking. Breaking free, Evan found Ivy's flushed face inches from his, eyes glittering unnaturally. My sweet boy, she murmured, kissing Evan's forehead. The saccharine tone made Evan's skin crawl. Mommy loves you so much. Omega's body was so soft, felt like being wrapped in cotton, leaving me dizzy. Thank God I'm a beta, I thought. But wait, does being beta mean I can share a bed with an omega? Confusion swirled as Ivy's warm breath brushed over my head. Sleep now, sweetheart. Mommy's got you. That's when clarity struck. No, I rasped, the words foreign on my tongue. Betas shouldn't sleep with omegas. Ivy's half-lidded gaze softened as his fingers traced my canine. Such a puppy, he murmured. Sudden violence surged. How would his blood look splattered? The thought evaporated when he withdrew glistening fingers, chuckling darkly before crushing me against his chest. Sleep, Evan. His voice drugged my senses. The fragile peace shattered as Luke's roar cut through darkness. Ivy, you monster. You're releasing pheromones at Evan. A syringe stabbed into Luke's own arm, inhibitors flooding his system. Ivy clung tighter, drawling, relax. Evan can't smell it. Besides, shouldn't our child find comfort in maternal scent? You sicken me. Luke's voice shook with revulsion. I'm staying. This is my uncle's child. He choked on unspoken words, bulldozing past Ivy's death glare to wrench me free. With Herculean strength, he arranged me corpse-straight between them. Fathers tucking in their kid. Perfectly normal, right? His glare silenced Ivy's protest. Sandwiched between warring titans, I breathed easier, until their hissed battle resumed. Let go. Ivy's whisper cut glass. Predictable. Luke sneered, intercepting wandering hands. No more touching. His protective growl mirrored a Rottweiler guarding stake. Ivy retaliated by yanking my arm, human tug-of-war until my death stare froze them. Behave at tomorrow's engagement, Luke finally snapped. Unseen by him, Ivy's lips brushed my knuckles. Of course, we'll be the perfect family. His serpent grip tightened. Evan's giving me the ring, as our beloved little brother. Thank God you didn't claim him as your son. Luke scoffed. His parents arrive tomorrow. Ivy's smile turned venomous. Oh, the word dripped poison. Dawn revealed Ivy resplendent in white silk, morning light gilding his amber eyes. Evan, big day ahead. Luke waited black-clad and stormy, hauling me to stylists. Their rare unity broke when he ruffled my coif. Presentable, almost omega pretty. Laughter died remembering, today, my parents would see this madness. I wonder if they'll realize their son has become someone else's. My emotions are a tangled mess. Uncle, Auntie, I'm Ivy Taylor, Luke's fiancée. I watch the elegantly smiling Ivy with admiration. It's impressive how two people who despise each other can deliver such composed introductions. Brian, my father, beams warmly. Lovely to meet you, Ivy. Who's this young man with you? A flicker of surprise crosses Ivy's polished expression. Clearly, he hadn't anticipated my parents failing to recognize their own child. Luke's brow furrows. Uncle, this is Evan. How could you not recognize your own son? My mother Sophie gasps. Evan? Goodness. You've changed so much. I pause before sweeping my bangs aside, revealing my forehead. Is this what they consider a drastic transformation? Brian's expression shifts to guilty realization. Evan, we meant to tell you. Your mother and I have been occupied with work, so we asked Luke to look after you temporarily. Sophie chimes in hurriedly. Yes, darling. How have you been lately? Ivy's smile has frozen into something dangerous. Luke lets out a humorless chuckle. Aunt Sophie, you've had my number this whole time. If you truly cared, why didn't you ever call? The couple exchanges shifty glances. We're just relieved to see Evan's doing well. Sophie stammers. You know how fragile he can be. We appreciate you humoring his condition. Indeed, Brian adds, pulling out his checkbook. Let us compensate you for the trouble. Luke's arm tightens around my shoulders. Keep your money. If you can't be bothered to parent Evan, I'll take full responsibility from now on. Ivy's voice turns saccharine. Besides, we find Evan utterly delightful. There's nothing wrong with his mental state. Sophie stiffens. This is temporary. Evan's our child. Once we finish our world tour and settle abroad, we're taking him back. Luke's jaw clenches, fury radiating from every pore. When he opens his mouth to retort, I tug his sleeve and shake my head. He exhales sharply, poking my forehead in exasperation before storming off. Ivy immediately takes my hand, murmuring against my ear, Don't worry, sweetheart. Mommy won't let anyone take you away. The term makes me dizzy. Why does this scheming Omega feel more maternal than my actual mother? In the private lounge, Luke paces like a caged tiger, kicking a cabinet for emphasis. Christ, I knew they were neglectful, but this? Not recognizing their own damn kid? Ivy sheds his polite facade. Explain the Clark family dynamics. Now, Luke runs a hand through his hair. My Uncle Brian was always the black sheep. Married Sophie against family wishes, some artist who turned him into her groupie. They've been globetrotting for inspiration ever since. Decades claiming to be child-free, until the family forced them to produce an heir. Enter Evan unwanted from conception. When he turned out, he gestures vaguely at me. Quirky. The Clarks lost interest. He grew up in empty mansions with rotating staff. The silence stretches until Ivy's lips curve predatorily. Perfect. Then stealing him to create our own family is simply logical. To my shock, Luke grins back. Damn right. Blood's blood. Can't let the kid keep living like this. Their conspiratorial grins freeze when I raise my hand. Ivy blinks. Yes, darling? I'm right here. Does no one find it rude to discuss kidnapping plans in front of the kidnappee? Instead of apologizing, Ivy kisses my cheek. So proud. You've been so verbal today. Luke lunges over, scrubbing my face with a monogrammed handkerchief. Stop molesting him. You creep. Ivy traces his lips dreamily before smoothing his expression. Shall we? The ceremony awaits. As they lead me to my designated seat, guests whisper excitedly. The Clark-Taylor alliance will dominate multiple industries. Rumor says the Taylor heir initially refused the arranged marriage. Wonder what changed? Who cares? They look disgustingly in love. I burst into laughter, drawing confused stares from nearby security. The real joke? These fools think they're watching a fairy tale romance, not witnessing two wolves negotiating custody of their adopted stray. Suddenly, someone lowered their voice and said, Hey, did you know? The young master of the Taylor family adopted a child before, also an Omega. I glanced lightly at the speaker, but for some reason, he gave up the adoption later. How could an unmarried Omega adopt a child? Someone nearby exclaimed in surprise. Keep your voices down. I heard this from others anyway. Who knows what he was thinking? I heard he doted on that kid at first. But after abandoning him, the child came looking for him many times and got completely ignored. I think the kid's name was Kyle. Used to be a young master himself until his parents went bankrupt. I looked up at Ivy on the stage, feeling an inexplicable tightness in my chest. At that moment, Luke seemed to sense my gaze and winked at me from the podium. The gesture felt undignified for such formal proceedings. This handsome, aloof alpha looked almost foolish making such a childish expression. When I waved slightly, his profile revealed poorly suppressed amusement. The MC's voice boomed through the hall accompanied by classical music. Now please welcome the groom's brother to exchange rings for the newlyweds. Cheers and applause erupted as someone nudged me. It's your cue. Holding two identical rings, I hesitated. Which one should go to Ivy? Which to Luke? Murmurs rose from the crowd. Don't couples usually exchange rings themselves? Luke lied smoothly. This is our brother who grew up with us. We wanted him to witness this important moment. He grinned at me, right? His eyebrows lifted as he silently mouthed, son? Noticing the slight size difference, I forcefully slid the smaller ring onto his finger. Luke hissed in pain. Served him right. My lips curved faintly. Ivy's voice cut through like cold steel. Evan, my turn now. As I placed the other ring on Ivy's finger, he suddenly interlaced our hands. The gemstone on the ring gleamed with unnatural intensity, resembling a serpent's eye. The audience fell silent at our bizarre gesture. Luke whispered urgently nearby, let him go. Ivy. Ivy seemed entranced, breathing unevenly with fervor. His unwavering gaze held terrifying devotion. Evan. I jerked my hand free, skin crawling. Lowering his head briefly, Ivy composed himself before slipping another ring onto my finger with a gentle smile. Thank you, madman. Didn't he care about hundreds of witnesses? I strode off stage without looking back. The awkward silence dissolved as if imagined. Staring at my blurred reflection in the restroom mirror, I pondered, why was Ivy fixated on me? If it was merely about control like Luke claimed, why choose me? There were far more obedient candidates. Drying my hands, I examined my eyes dark, hollow, perpetually emotionless. I bit my lip in frustration and turned to leave. Who are you? A venomous voice demanded. A black-haired youth blocked my path, strikingly beautiful yet shadowed by gloom mirroring my own. I remained silent, maintaining my mute persona. Enraged, he shoved me against the sink edge. Pain shot through my ribs, but no sound escaped. When he tried to slap me, I caught his wrist coldly. Get lost. He yanked free, snarling, why are you hovering around, Mr. Clark? Don't feed me that brother nonsense. I've never seen Mr. Clark have siblings. I walked away without dignifying his tantrum. The young man noticed the ring on my finger and grabbed my hand violently, yanking it off. Why do you have the same ring as Mr. Taylor? I stayed silent, watching blood bead on my torn skin from the forced removal. Pathetic bitch, he shrieked, spittle flying. How dare you wear matching rings with him? Exhaustion weighed my bones. I tuned out his screeching until he began pinching my arms. Snapping, I slammed him against the bathroom sink and punched his face twice. His nails raked my cheek as he thrashed. The door crashed open as I considered knocking him out. What the fuck? Luke's roar made my ears ring. He threw me aside like trash and punched Kyle unconscious, blood gushing from Kyle's nose. Luke kept kicking the limp body until I touched his arm. Evan, his anger evaporated. Hold on. I'm calling the doctor. Wiping blood, I muttered, I'm fine. Ivy rushed in moments later with the physician. My baby. She cradled me like shattered glass despite my superficial scratches. The doctor stammered, just minor abrasions. Mr. Taylor. Some ointment. Just. Ivy's voice turned arctic. She spun her ring, noticing my injured finger. Her polished Oxfords clicked toward the groaning Kyle. Luke warned, he's already out cold. Ivy smiled, stretching leather gloves over her slender fingers. Then we'll wake him. She knelt, throttling Kyle until his face purpled. Sir. Kyle choked when released, tears mixing with blood. I warned you to stay away. Ivy backhanded him. The slap echoed. You hit me? Kyle's disbelief turned to hysteria after 3 more strikes. Luke chuckled as I flinched. Scared? Don't worry, princess. Daddy's got you. When Ivy finally stood, her gloves were splattered crimson. Retrieve my ring. No. Kyle clutched his fist despite servants prying his broken fingers. Ivy crushed his hand under her heel until the bloodied band rolled free. Toss it. She nudged the ring with disgust. Have Cartier make a new set. This trash isn't worthy. As guards dragged Kyle away, his manic laughter followed us. You'll get yours. You'll see. Ivy didn't glance back, already inspecting my cheek. Let's get you cleaned up, darling. Her thumb brushed my uninjured skin, tender as if handling crystal. Behind us, the janitor mopped up Kyle's blood. I watched Kyle being dragged away in the distance, understanding his final words were meant for me. Ivy had finished washing her hands and approached, her cool yet soft palm tenderly cupping my face. I couldn't help but shiver and pull away. Ivy withdrew her hand as if burned, long lashes fluttering downward. Evan, are you scared of me now? Luke sneered from nearby. What do you think? Big bro, I thought you were gonna slap him dead. Someone like you should stay away from kids. For once, Ivy didn't argue. Her knuckles whitened around her ring finger before she walked away silently. By the time the mess was cleaned up, scabs had formed on my face. Luke grinned wildly, looking sharp. Kiddo. Like a stray cat that lost a back alley brawl. I glared up at him. He flicked my nose, his earring glinting. Come on, kitten. Since your mom's out, I took the day off. Let's blow off steam. Since when do CEOs take personal days? I wondered, but took his hand anyway. Luke froze momentarily before engulfing my fingers in his warm grasp. Can you imagine Ivy's face right now? He practically wagged an imaginary tail, dragging me to his sports car. At the racetrack, Luke gestured dramatically. Pick your poison, sweetheart. I pointed to the matte black Lamborghini. Knew you'd go for the Widowmaker. He whistled, buckling me in. The world blurred as we shot down the track. Wind screaming through open windows. My heartbeat synchronized with the roaring engine until we skidded to a stop. Stumbling out, Luke steadied me. Having fun? What? I shouted over ringing ears. He cradled my face, thumbs squishing my cheeks. I said, Are you happy? His laughter died as his grip slid to my nape. I'm going into rut. Call your driver, I said evenly. Instead, Luke threw me over his shoulder into the back seat. His heated weight pinned me as he nuzzled my throat. Wasn't I good today? Took you out. Let me taste? I shoved at his drooling face. I'm beta, no markings. Exactly, he purred, fangs sinking into my shoulder. My body betrayed me, melting as he lapped at the wound. One more bite? He begged hoarsely, fumbling into his jacket. I speed-dialed Ivy. Calling to gloat? Her icy voice snapped. Luke's ragged panting filled the car. Ivy, what the hell are? Luke snatched the phone mid-sentence. Mom, I screamed. Evan? What's? The call died as Luke crashed his lips against mine. His wandering hands froze when headlights flooded the interior. Through fogged windows, I saw Ivy's Porsche screeching sideways, doors flying open. To his credit, Luke maintained shreds of humanity, merely mauling me like overzealous puppy love until rescue came. The backseat reeked of alpha pheromones and poor life choices when Ivy finally dragged him off by his collar. Finally, when I was on the verge of breaking down, a figure appeared outside the car window. The door wasn't locked. Ivy forcefully jabbed the inhibitor into Luke's neck. The injection must have contained something else because Luke collapsed almost immediately, his dead weight crushing me. It took considerable effort for Ivy and me to finally wriggle free from beneath him. Ivy brought me to his car, meticulously cleaning the bite marks on my neck. His hair clung damply to his forehead, sweat glistening beneath the dome light. He'd clearly rushed here in a panic. I kept my eyes downcast, silent. His gentle ministrations didn't hurt at all. If anything, they made me drowsy. When Ivy cradled me against his chest and murmured, Evan, you called me Mom earlier. Could you say it again? I pretended to fall asleep. He chuckled softly at my fluttering eyelashes, spraying inhibitor mist throughout the vehicle. Forgive me, Evan. Your pheromones make it difficult for me to think straight. He wasn't wrong. An alpha's scent could easily send omegas into dangerous territory. As I shifted uncomfortably against the seat, Ivy continued calmly, I've arranged for someone to collect Luke. Let's go home. You need a shower. Freshly showered, I found Ivy waiting on my bed. I tightened the bathrobe around myself. Oddly, this omega terrified me more than any alpha ever had. He laughed lowly when I stiffly lay down, coiling around me like a serpent. His kisses fell like poisoned rain, sticky and inescapable. Don't touch me, I whispered when fear finally loosened my tongue. His lips stilled for a heartbeat before descending with renewed frenzy. I pushed at his shoulders, but he captured my wrists, pressing feverish kisses to my palms. Ivy looked utterly unhinged, beautiful and broken. When I blinked slowly, he groaned and kissed my eyelids. Evan, my treasure. His crushing embrace threatened to fuse our bones together. Please stop, I said flatly, all emotion drained. Ivy's chest heaved. He bit his lower lip until blood bloomed against the pallor. Don't shut me out like this. Is this about Kyle? I'll eliminate him if that's what you want. Please don't do this to me, it'll destroy me. The desperation in his eyes would shock everyone who knew the composed Taylor family heir. Why do you love me? I asked the question that had haunted me. His smile turned brittle. You really want that answer? And I nod. He began unraveling the Taylor family's gilded rot, centuries of poisoned traditions burying generations alive. Ivy had grown feral in that viper's nest, nurturing one childish fantasy, raising an unsullied soul. No lies, no schemes, just pure devotion. He'd stitched together a ragged doll under moonlight, pricking his fingers bloody to create something innocent. That cobbled-together toy with its button eyes and stained fabric became his secret altar. Now that broken boy clung to me, his last tattered dream. It was Ivy Taylor's blood, yet Ivy loved it even more. The doll couldn't speak, but it remained her only source of comfort. This crude cloth companion had stayed hidden under her pillow for years until discovered by a new maid unaware of Ivy's strict rule against bedmaking. The etiquette instructor erupted in fury. How could the Taylor family's noble omega sleep with such filth? Ivy's mother personally carried out the punishment, whipping her weak son until he was covered in wounds before burning the doll before her eyes. As flames consumed those silent black button eyes, Ivy's heart calcified. She grew vindictive, paranoid, ruthlessly clawing her way to becoming the Taylor family's perfect omega. Power intoxicated her like rotting roses exuding poison, yet she could never forget that helplessness. She'd control everything. When arranged marriage negotiations with the Clark family began, Ivy embraced it. Everything was transactional, every move calculated for advancement. At yet another champagne-drenched gala, she slipped away from the glittering crowd only to freeze mid-step. Across the corridor stood a boy with raven hair and fathomless dark eyes, his tailored coat straight from storybook royalty. Their eyes locked, and for one dizzying moment Ivy saw her long-lost doll resurrected. Then he vanished like smoke. Ivy later combed security footage under pretext of losing jewelry, finding no trace. Yet the obsession took root. Years later, when maturity brought desperate longing for a child she couldn't yet conceive through political marriage, Ivy adopted Kyle Bennett. She showered the destitute aristocrat's son with luxuries and manufactured tenderness until his devotion sickened her. Why? Kyle wept when she discarded him. You promised we'd be family. Ivy coldly adjusted her gloves. Because you lack the purity I require. She needed blank canvas, every hue of her child's soul painted by her hand alone. Years later, her fiancé Luke Clark slid through photos, complaining about distant relatives. Ivy's breath caught. There he was, the dark-eyed boy from her memory, now grown into aloof adolescence. Bring him here, she demanded, pulse pounding. I'll be his mother. Luke raised an eyebrow. That's my cousin Evan. Ivy traced her knuckles. Even better. We'll form the perfect triad family. Predictably, Luke agreed for merger advantages. Ivy smiled. Let them all believe this union served greed. She'd forge these profit-driven bonds into unbreakable chains. Finally, as Evan stepped out of the hospital, Ivy smiled and uttered words long overdue. Hello, Evan. I'm your mother. Ivy laid everything bare, the love that defied reason. I'd never imagined someone like her would expose her heart so completely. Unsure how to respond, I simply took her hand. The faint scent of roses clung to Ivy as I leaned closer. She pulled me into her embrace, murmuring with quiet amusement, "Smell that, Evan? Roses. My pheromones. Don't be afraid." She whispered against my temple, "You're mine now. I won't abandon you, so promise you'll never leave your mom either. Okay." Her lips brushed my cheek like a whispered secret. In the darkness, I placed my palm over her exposed vulnerability. When I awoke, the bed held only cold sheets. A disheveled man slumped in the chair, chin propped on his hand as he fought sleep. "Luke," I called. Luke jerked awake, bloodshot eyes locking onto mine. "Evan," he rasped. "Ivy and we had a conversation. Some truths need airing." His thumb traced the edge of the hospital blanket. "Yesterday, that was intentional. I'm sorry." My silence stretched until Luke's mouth curved bitterly. "No regrets, though. Our equation became unbalanced. This was necessary recalibration." He leaned forward, exhaustion melting into predatory focus. "Ivy and I are allies of convenience. You're the weld strengthening that bond." Moonlight glinted off his obsidian earring as he continued, "Eternal alliances don't exist between families. Even Ivy and I watch each other. But you," his knuckles brushed my jaw, "you're our dual insurance policy. Far more binding than any engagement ring. I'll love you as fiercely as Ivy does," Luke vowed. "So neither of us can abandon this perfect arrangement. Love me back, Evan. Maintain our equilibrium." Gone was the carefree heir. Before me sat Clark family's razor-sharp successor, laying bare both ambition and sincerity. "Why?" I finally asked. "Why love me when he'd initially scorned this charade?" Luke's grin turned wolfish. Crude but honest. Physical attraction that turned into something deeper. When I offered no response, he collapsed dramatically into the chair. "Really? Nothing to say?" His sigh held fond exasperation. "You're impossible when you go quiet." Calloused fingers pinched my nose playfully. How does a beta end up this infuriatingly cute? Ivy materialized like vengeance incarnate. Kitchen knife glinting. "Remove your hand." "Luke." Luke nearly toppled over. "Jesus. Ivy. Why the blade?" Ivy Taylor ignored him, handing over a fruit platter with gentle care. "Evan, have some fruit." Luke stabbed a piece with his fork unceremoniously. "This is mine," Ivy said sharply. "Hands off." Luke raised an eyebrow. "Seriously? This is my house. What's the big deal about eating fruit?" As their bickering escalated, I spoke up flatly. "Mom should feed me." To my surprise, Ivy brightened immediately, spearing a slice of apple to bring to my lips while Luke glared daggers. I chewed mechanically, the tart juice flooding my mouth. This household would implode without me as buffer. The doorbell interrupted Luke's renewed attempt to force "feed me grapes." Brian entered with red-rimmed eyes, arms outstretched. Luke blocked his path. "Uncle Brian? Weren't you supposed to be in Bali? What's wrong?" "She's..." Brian's voice cracked. "Sophie has cancer. Evan needs to see her." My jaw froze mid-chew. Ivy's hand found mine beneath the table. "Of course Evan should visit his birth mother," she said evenly. "We'll accompany him today and..." "This is my son." Brian slammed the table. "I'm taking him home where he belongs." Luke barked out a laugh. "You forfeited that right when you dumped him in that asylum. 18 years of silence doesn't make you dad of the year." "Evan." Brian turned desperately to me. "Your mother. She's got weeks left. Don't you want to say goodbye?" The grandfather clock ticked loudly. Finally, Ivy squeezed my hand. "Go tonight. Come home by midnight." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "We'll wait." The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and wilted flowers. The woman propped up by pillows bore little resemblance to the vibrant artist from childhood memories. Sophie reached trembling fingers toward me. "Evan, you've lost weight." Ironically, Ivy's constant care had actually rounded my cheeks. I stared at the foredrip instead. "I was wrong," she whispered. "All those trips. I thought you didn't love us because you never spoke." Her skeletal hand brushed my hair. "Just once? Could you call me Mom?" Memories surfaced unbidden. A carved wooden owl from Prague, left on my 6th birthday. The way she'd laughed when I traced its feather patterns for hours. Then later, her disappointed sighs when museum trinkets piled up unacknowledged. My throat constricted as it always did. 18 years of swallowed words thickened behind my tongue. The heart monitor beeped erratically as Sophie's tears soaked the pillowcase. Somewhere beyond the morphine haze, the girl who'd once waited by windows for her parents' return still lingered, silent, hopeful, utterly forgotten. Sophie Clark could no longer storm off impatiently this time, chained to the hospital bed by her illness. I remained silent, having long lost the ability to speak in their presence. Yet Sophie began laughing hysterically. "Evan, how could you possibly be my child?" Her eyes raked over me with disgust. "Ungrateful wretch. I gave you life, yet you refuse to even call me Mom? Fine. If silence could free you, do you really think I'd let you escape me?" Brian locked the door behind him. I stared at him in shock as Sophie crooned, "Sweet Evan, when Mommy goes abroad for treatment, you're coming too. Though I despise you, you belong to me. This lifetime. The next, you'll never escape." Her laughter turned venomous, tears streaking her mascara. "Did you really mistake my momentary guilt for maternal love? Thought yourself important? If I'm suffering, you'll suffer worse. Evan, resistance is futile." My fingers brushed against the ring still on my hand, and strangely, relief washed over me. Better to have never been loved than endure this twisted version of it. Sophie pressed the emergency button. Guards swarmed in, jabbing a syringe into my neck. Darkness claimed me before I hit the floor. I awoke bound to a chair in what appeared to be an abandoned factory. Brian frantically argued on his phone. How could the flight get canceled? "Luke, how did they track us?" He paled. "They're coming now?" Hanging up, he turned to Sophie. "Sophie, leave him. Your health can't take this stress. Let's go alone." "No." Sophie's denial came sharp as broken glass. "I hate him, or maybe, why won't he?" Her words dissolved into madness. Though my wrists were tied, the ring's familiar weight reassured me. Luke and Ivy had embedded a tracker in it. They'd find me. Sophie reappeared as I strategized. Her voice arctic. "They're coming, Evan. Those meddling strangers think they can interfere with a mother and son?" When Brian tried reasoning with her again, she screamed silence.
Before dissolving into theatrical sobs. "Don't you want to stay with me, darling?" The gunshot cracked before Brian could answer. He collapsed, clutching his shattered knee. "You wanted a tropical vacation instead of caring for your dying wife," Sophie mused, aiming the smoking barrel at his forehead. "If you love me, die first and scout the afterlife. Evan and I will join you soon." As Brian's curses revealed his true nature, a hysterical laugh escaped me. If I were insane, clearly I'd inherited it. Sophie cradled Brian's corpse, vacillating between recounting their honeymoon memories and screaming at his lifeless form. "He promised eternal love, yet abandoned me when I got sick." Her wild eyes found mine. "You'd leave me too, Evan? Never, never." Police sirens wailed in the distance. I screamed hoarsely, "Stay back, she's armed." But Luke and Ivy's voices cut through the chaos. Sophie pressed the gun to my temple as she called out, "Luke and Ivy, come alone or watch his brains paint the walls." The cold steel bit into my skin, tears gumming my lashes together. Silence stretched in the derelict space. This was better. Let them prioritize family legacy over me. I'd been raised to expect nothing less. Then footsteps. Two figures emerged through the dust motes. Against all teachings, against all reason, they came. In a daze, I felt transported back to the day they'd picked me up from the psychiatric facility. The day they'd rescued me from that frozen prison. Luke stared at Brian's lifeless body on the floor, his voice eerily calm. "Sophie, don't do anything rash. Enough talk. Evan, look, they really came. Who should live? Who should die?" Sophie dug her nails into my cheeks, venom dripping from her words. "Stop glaring at me with those terrifying eyes. I'll pluck them out if you keep this up." My throat tightened as I looked between Luke and Ivy. "Just leave me. Go. You have responsibilities." I couldn't let them throw everything away. No, I'm done being the family's puppet.
Ivy's gentle tone contrasted with the steel in her eyes. "Choose me, Evan. Luke will take care of you. I don't want you haunted by this decision." "Bullshit." Luke yanked Ivy back, bitter laughter escaping him. "Since when do you get the final say? I'm still head of the Clark family. My love might be clumsy, but it's real. Why not go mad for once?" He exhaled sharply. "Pick me. My perfect family fantasies already shattered anyway. Screw political alliances, I actually cared. My last words are done. Kill me already." "Shut up." Sophie's scream cracked through the room. "This isn't some romantic drama. If Evan won't choose, I will." Her finger trembled toward Ivy. "You, come here. Stop pretending to be the nurturing one. I'm his mother. Luke desperately grabbed Ivy's arm, but she shook him off. All right. Ivy's gaze never left mine as she stepped forward, silent. She knew words would only carve deeper wounds. I could always read her as easily as she read me. Terrified of abandonment, yet certain of her genuine devotion. My vision swam as gunmetal glinted. Each footstep hammered my ribs until only Ivy's serene eyes anchored me. Sophie raised the pistol. No. My raw scream echoed, throat burning. The gunshot cracked. Crimson bloomed across Ivy's white blouse as she collapsed. Chaos erupted. Police swarmed in as paramedics wailed outside. I barely registered Luke untying me, his arms shaking as he carried me out. Hospital lights stung my eyes days later. Luke hovered by the bed muttering. The doctor said she'd wake hours ago. What if Ivy? My raspy croak startled him. His conflicted silence made tears spill until he blurted. She's alive. Bullet missed the heart. 3 surgeries. But stable. Relief and fury warred in me. He smirked weakly. Look at you. So worried. Her heroics really won you over. Huh? I was scared for you too. Good. Can't have my kid playing favorites now that we're a proper family. His playful wink dissolved my tension. We found Ivy propped up in her hospital bed. Bandages peeking from her gown. No more tears. Little sparrow. She teased weakly. I clung to her hand like a lifeline. Such devotion. Luke fake gagged. They've been glued like that all morning. Gonna get trench foot. Ivy rolled her eyes. You're insufferable. Play nice. I ordered you bone broth from the kitchen. You know I hate mushrooms. Luke snatched my free hand dramatically. See? This is why I'm the favorite parent. As their bickering continued, I finally breathed easy. The ghost still lingered, but here, sandwiched between their warmth, I felt home. I'll make you soup because we're brothers. The yam goes in because we're rivals in love. Ivy took my hand, pressing a light kiss to my knuckles. If you keep treating me as competition, you'll give yourself an aneurysm. Luke snorted. Fine. Who says Evan can't come from a 2-parent household? His teasing tone turned dangerous as he brushed his lips against mine. Evan, tell me, do you love Daddy more or Mommy? Ivy shot him an exasperated look before adopting her signature velvet steel voice. You adore Mommy most, don't you? Watching these 2 lunatics, I suddenly recalled Sophie's lethal interrogation tactics. Shuddering, I tuned out their bickering. Morning light glinted off the platinum band on my finger as I absently touched it. 6 months since the kidnapping. 6 months since Sophie's trembling hands had misfired before she turned the gun on herself in that prison cell. A warm palm abruptly captured my wandering hand, pressing it against a broad chest where matching rings glinted. Ivy, quit hogging him. Luke's morning stubble scraped my temple as he growled. It's my turn. Psycho. Ivy muttered under her breath before raising her voice. Evan, breakfast. Her customary good morning kiss landed on my forehead. I barely dodged her reaching hands, refusing to let her dress me like a doll again. Later, Ivy pouted, her 3rd ring, identical to ours, digging into my palm as she squeezed. Don't forget my heat cycle starts tomorrow. I kissed the disappointment from her mouth, promising private nesting time. Only then did she retreat, smugness radiating from her designer sweater. Such were the rules Luke invented. Ivy endorsed, and I tolerated. By the time I dragged Luke from bed to the breakfast nook, Ivy had already begun her daily double standards. Luke, shovel it down, you'll be late. Then honey. Sweet to me. Slow bites. Baby. Don't choke. Luke's indignant why aren't you employed? Still hung in the air when the front door slammed. Ivy's poorly concealed grin widened as she pulled me onto her lap. Alone at last. I rolled my eyes but snuggled closer. Movie marathon. Her chuckle vibrated against my cheek. Our secret. We both froze at the crash of the door. Luke stood framed in swirling snow, nose cherry red. Snow day. You harpy. You made me trudge through a blizzard for nothing? I burst out laughing. His icy fingers found my ribs, wrestling me into the couch cushions. Traitor. Whose side are you on? Ivy. Mercy. I gasped between giggles. Enough. Ivy hauled me to safety, all faux sternness. Luke. Kitchen duty. We're making dumplings. The color drained from Luke's face. I used to hate happy endings. Starve then. Ivy deadpanned. Wait. Luke scrambled after her. I meant, the ordinary stuff matters most. Ivy snorted. Since when did you turn philosopher? Hey, I aced middle school. Luke's indignant retort faded